Hi everyone, Valerie here, and today we're playing The Fairy Tale of Death. And the description for it is literally a story that should have never been written. It's apparently a text adventure. We apparently find out what we do before we die. And I want to go more into it, but I think it just throws me in. Which I'm cool with that. But oh, you open your eyes bright green, even in the dark glow of the torches. Your memories are blurry. Something doesn't seem to have happened the way it should have. You don't wear shoes or stockings. You hardly notice it. Fate was good to you. He lies on the ground, and you still seem to be alive. Somehow. Even so, the infant, whose cries are getting louder and louder, and who lies next to the black cowl, which almost completely hides the dark man's body. The dark man, you can hear him breathing, despite the cries of the infant. So he's not dead. Although his wand has rolled out of his bony, skinny hand, it's only a few inches away from that baleful hand that hardly seems human. Maybe you should take the wand, just to be safe. Grab the baby and just run. No matter where, too. Okay. But first, you should get up. Despite the throbbing pain you can feel in your leg now. You remember thinking that only your dress was burned. Burned there where the dark light hit you. That was the moment before everything became so bright. So unspeakably bright. And then so infinitely dark. And then, nothing more. You don't want to look at it. You can feel the burning pain, and now you can even smell it. Your own burnt meat. Ugh. But still, you pull the dress slowly up from your right foot, just a few inches, over the ankle. Although you know this will multiply the pain, when you see the extent of the disaster, you feel the full extent of the pain that surrounds that calamity. And of course, this is also true now, and you spare yourself from looking at the rest of your leg. How do I start? Do I just... does it really just throw me in? You get up in pain and straighten your dress in the usual manner before you realize that in this situation, it's more than pointless. It may never be important again, now that everything is different. Irreversible different? You look at the baby and look at the ominous thing, not far from the magician's hand. How many moments have passed since you have opened your eyes? How much sand has run through the hourglass? How long have you been passed out? Such obsolete thoughts. There's only so little you think you know. You have to stay alive to protect the baby. And there's only one way out of here. Then you hear that soft voice in your head. The voice of the young queen. Little miss, it's time to act, and act wisely. Yeah, they just throw me right on in. Oh. Take the infant and the glowing wand and get out of here. You hear footsteps behind you. Swift steps. He's on his feet again, and he's following you. Ooh. How close is he already? In these corridors, you can hardly tell by the sound of the steps. You have to keep moving, and fast. Another confrontation with him would be your certain death. If you can only remember what had happened. Someone sent you here because something very bad happened. Or will happen? You're not sure. And you shouldn't go alone. That's how it was, wasn't it? But now is not the time for brooding. He must not catch up with you. You have to go on, quickly. Can I get instructions? The iron-barred gate could be useful. Maybe you can keep him at a distance. The dark man, the magician, or whatever he is. You ponder whether you opened the gate when you came down here. You can't remember. It looks heavy and rusted. You think to yourself, if it was you who has opened it, you can close it again, couldn't you? Your eyes roam over the chain and the old wooden beam on the floor. And you think that maybe you could use it to block the gate. If you do it wisely, it will occupy him for a while and give you a bigger head start. Maybe you can even stop him. Okay, give me instructions! You carry the baby in your arm. You shouldn't forget about that. You can put the bundle down briefly if need be. It wouldn't hurt it much. It may be of great use to you. Huh? But stopping a sorcerer? Be it with or without his wand? On the other hand, you must have done something. For him to lay on the floor, blacked out. If only you could remember or what even happened. Enough. It's time to act. Okay. Instructions. Tutorial. Controls. Oh. Okay. So I don't know why it took me this long to figure it out. It's one of those choose your own adventure games, which is like every video game. But you don't move, you move by selecting a thing. We're gonna try to close the barred gate behind you and secure it with the chain. Oh, fucking son of a bitch, that scared me. Whew! Okay, yeah, we did. Oh, the gate was rusty and heavy, it could hardly be moved. Just when you were about to put the baby down to try again, a bony hand reached through the bars and grabbed your wrist. You only felt a small prick and stark black to spread over your forearm in seconds. By the time it reached your face, you were long dead. Even the best ideas can sometimes fail at the very first instance of implementation, and sometimes nobody can predict it. Oh, that scared me! Okay, so how do I go back in and try again? What do you mean accept my fine? Oh. Whew. I thought they were gonna kill me again. I was about to cry. Okay, I'm finally back to where I was. They give you an option to accelerate the text if you've seen it already, which is great. So trying to close this gate doesn't work, so I'm just gonna run. Oh, I was gonna be so upset if I died again. Ooh, skeleton. Not, I know it was a serious text, but that skeleton looks like he's grooving. Now you remember, and looking at your dress scorched on the right side, it should have been obvious to you. You're a princess of regal blood. Neither a commoner nor a noblewoman might wear such a dress. But what brings you to this place? And concerning the baby, nothing. Not the hint of a memory. You had a task, but what? Protecting the infant. Was that your task? Or is it pure instinct? You're not sure on that either. Maybe it's only important to know that you've made it your virtue now. So you're going to do just that. The trapdoor on the floor in front of you is easy to see. But since you must have come here somehow, there must be a way over it or around. Troubling though that you don't remember whether you came through here. You're not even sure if you came here by yourself, or if you were brought here. You probably even knew something about the trap on your way here, but no more? Well, it does look old, but so does everything down here. It's probably as functional as the rusty barred iron gate, but who can tell? Apparently I can tell when I decide to make the wrong move. You could leap over it. You can surely manage somehow. At least it would be the most secure way. On the other hand, you're only a pinch heavier than a curtain of fine satin. The weight of the baby in your arms wouldn't change that much. Should you take a chance and just walk over it? Light as a feather, hoping that it holds? You could also carefully slip past it next to the wall. That would be twice as safe. But let's not forget that there's an alcove to your left. You wouldn't be seen there, that's for sure. The mage follows you with quick strides. It will be impossible for him to see you. He might fall into the pit himself, or just rush past you. Well then, whatever needs to be done now. Okay, so what are my options? Leap over the trap, circumvent the trap, hide in the alcove where you're impossible to see. Walk carefully. Alright, I don't know what this does. I don't want to try it. He's there somehow. I don't see any change. We're gonna hide. Fucking bitch! And that part scares me again. On my second screen, it looks completely bright. Here, it looks dark and foreboding. It could have worked, but you had forgotten that an infant may start crying at all times, seemingly without reason. The sorcerer hadn't taken long to find you. He broke your hand with a smile on his haughty face as he took back his wand, then he threw you into the trap door. Moments before your death, you could see him throwing the baby into the pit right behind you. Things one would normally know can be as elusive as a snowflake on the warm hand of a child when in life-threatening danger. It's quite an art to avoid this at all times. Son of a bitch. Guys, I've died so many times in this game, I almost don't want to play it anymore. It stopped being fun. But I ended up looking up to see what other people did. Apparently, it's this one. Walk on carefully and rely on your weight. And that pisses me off. Oh, the music changed. That sounds nice. Oh. Everything went well so far. And somehow, you've got a feeling you don't have much further to go. That seems even more weird, thinking about it, so you don't even know where you could possibly be. But somehow this feels familiar, well known, just much too warm. But surely this can't be the habitable surroundings of a princess. With a sudden hit of realization, you notice the voice of the queen earlier wasn't even that of your mother. Had she sent you down here? But why? Even more baffling, you have the feeling that you had been sent up. But this isn't up for sure, so either something had gone rather wrong, or the feeling you have betrays you. Be that as it may, he's got to be hot on your heels, even if you can't currently hear him over the crackling flames. Flames. So many flames, so much fire, and even here, right where you stand, it feels so hot. Is there even a way through? You very sincerely doubt that. Adding to this, someone must have already tried this just in the other direction. Someone whose skeleton now lays directly at your feet. Wait, where? Oh, I see, you're in the water. Still in the... No, wait, where? Still in the flames? What flame? Oh, okay, I see it now. On the other hand, you can still see the bindings at his feet with a heavy ball and chain. Although you were raised to walk like a princess and not jump like a knight, you had always been quick and fleet-footed. Had you not? At the very least, you managed to leave the sorcerer behind you with a baby and a burnt leg. You see the jug of water at the bottom of the stairs. Not far from a candle of iron wax which can burn for 20 years, since the wax is very hard to melt. The flames seem hot, but you need to go through them directly. There seems to be a way to get around them for the most part. But what if you're mistaken? You have to protect the baby. You're never going to be a pretty princess again. Anyway, with these burn marks on your leg. Yes, the water in the jug. The fact that she is walking and running with a burnt leg is pretty impressive. I don't think it's possible. You could soak the infant's blanket with it to protect him from the flames and then rush through the fire nimble-footed. But if the embers on the ground are too high, you could sear your legs and fall. If the flames don't reach that high, maybe you should rather wrap your feet in the wet racks to protect them. Carry the infant as high over your head as possible and run through the flames as fast as you can. But all that would cost you precious time. He could catch up to you. So just run ahead and trust your luck and speed. But all that fire, slowly a thought comes to your mind. Maybe you've passed the junction without noticing. And then there's something else you can't ignore. Your gut tells you the sorcerer's wand emits something evil. Something that could manifest at any time. The time is now. Okay. I'm gonna use the water to soak the baby's blankets, and I swear to God if I die! No one will ever know whether your decision was canny. You never got to put it into practice. Mere seconds after you made your decision to ignore your guts, precognition, and to keep the sorcerer's wand, it transformed into something small, something evil, not to be described with words. It is something that ignored you, but devoured the infant in your arm. Oh, hello. It wasn't until the sorcerer came you were still stunned and shocked that you died. There seemed to be a time in which you could trust one's gut. Maybe even more so when it concerns things evil by nature. What the? I'm gonna do this one more time. If I die one more time, I'm done. Alright. We're back again. And this kills me. Because, like, I don't know if dropping the wand is gonna cause me to die. Oh, cool, cool, cool. Oh, that worked? Oh, I didn't die. Oh. I did not want to die again. Because if I die again, that's it. I'm not playing it anymore. Like, and it sucks because this is a game I want to enjoy, but it's definitely not a horror game. It's certainly not. I don't even know. I'll talk about it later. You feel as if he's coming closer and your feet hurt miserably. The corridor drew the fire over the hot stones. Even with the makeshift protection on your feet left its marks. Sure, you can feel how close he is. But at least your feet only suffered some burns. They will heal without scarring. At least you hope so, in some corner of your mind. Lucky you, the floor here isn't even warm anymore. But the air... Hopefully, it was the right thing to do, leaving that baleful wand behind. Right, I did that. This way, it must have surely fallen into its master's hands again. If only you had thought of that before. You would have destroyed it somehow, in a fire, or something similar. But when I literally tried to find a way to leave... Alright. Anyway, something evil emanated from it. On the other hand, you could have fooled yourself. But you can't change that anymore. Making the way back through the fire would be folly. Such a nice word, folly. The important thing is, it seems to have it seems to get hotter continuously, even though the big fire is far behind you. What's that sound? Spooky. Yes, it gets hotter incessantly, not a doubt. And the air tastes like ash more and more. And the feeling that your path, wherever to, would not lead you much further, grows increasingly apparent. Only the reason you cannot fathom. Not for the feeling of being close, not for the heat that grows steadily. Sorry, I got distracted by this particular shadow. It freaked me out for some reason. And becomes more unbearable. But enough. Concentrate. If there is no way back through that ocean of flames, there is only the way through that narrow hallway to your right. That's not drenched in flames. But it looks so very dark. Like the mother of darkness. Even so, your eyes could fool you after all. It's very bright in here. Then you spot something glowing in the dead man's chest. There's a dead man. Where's the... What? Oh, I see the dead man. To your left. Oh, the coffin. Right here. But the light makes you feel secure from the bottom of your heart. In all these adversities, the gurgling sounds from the bone of your chest change to weeping, which will, without a doubt, soon become loud crying. A light could be useful in such a dark hallway. Oh! Then you become aware of the glass sphere between the candle holder and the wall, not far from the stone statue on the floor. Witchcraft! Runs through your mind. Even so, it inflicts a feeling in you swaying between balefulness and sadness, but still not settling on either of the two. Your pursuer is closer than ever. It's less a feeling now and more noticeable by the steps behind you that can be heard clearly again and are growing louder by the minute. You could grab the staff of light. It wouldn't be more than a step and a movement of your hand, and then onwards through the dark hallway. Hardly any time lost, but still time. This bothers me where the other quotation marks are down here. The balefully sad glass sphere would be a lot harder to reach. Time you may not have anymore. Ultimately, it would mean wasting moments for things you don't necessarily need. A needless risk. Into the corridor quickly then, without losing any time. If the baby were quiet, he might not be able to guess where you vanished off to in the first place. Are we saying we're gonna abandon the baby? This episode way too close. Action without adornment is necessary. The thing about this is that they don't give you obvious choices. At this point, I just want to get to the end. Oh my. So hot, searingly hot, but it's not light you need. It seems your decision was correct for now. Who might have been these people? There are only bones now. This one probably died long before you were born. Useless to ponder these thoughts. You could be safe here for a little. Catch your breath. Calm down. The infant is sleeping in your arms. Strange. The situations in which the smallest can sleep. I mean, yeah. But why this pressing feeling to keep going? Why, even though you seem to be safe here? Well, the small fire and the beam should be an unscalable shouldn't be an unscalable obstacle. You're quite small after all. The beam could crash down, make some noise. You could wait. For what though? For your pursuer to give up the chase? Would he? Would he really give up his search for you over the bundle in your arms? As long as you don't even know what has happened. As long as you don't even know who or what that man in the dark robe even is. As long as you don't even know why he chases you. You sure you won't find the answers to all those questions. You still have to face this. Make a decision. I'd love to if every single thing I did didn't fucking lead me to death. I didn't have to go through all this shit again. Fire, what once went well doesn't always have to be good. There are no more memories. That fire thing makes me think I shouldn't try to inch my way through the beam. Alright, so time is definitely not something we can do. So we can't do this. We can't do that. If I'm gonna inch through beneath the beam, that puts me close to the fire. And from this, where it says just because something like we escaped fire once, doesn't mean we'll escape the fire again. So I was so scared I was gonna die. The music changed again. And the slow loading screens, it's not necessary. And the fact that the most recent update to this was just to fix the accelerate text, they're most likely not even touching this game. Which is upsetting, because this could be a great game if they fixed a lot of things. Oh wait, can I move things? Can I click things? Oh. More slow scrolling text. Somehow I am not surprised. Oh. When you touch the door to open it, you notice that it's locked. You get the feeling that you have been here before. Maybe on your way down, a deja vu, made a wrong choice, maybe in a different light. And with your hand on the door, you find your first clear and not all blurry memory. The key is in one of these chests and death awaits in all the others. You once knew why it must be like that and where you can find it. And that, despite it not always finding shelter in the same one. Oh, now you don't remember anymore. Are you not behind this door already? Have you forgotten something on your path? Should you look at something here more closely? That's the first time the text ever went down that low. And this completely stopped. Oh no, there it is. It's going now. First, it seems like more memories come to flood your mind. Then nothing. As if you were under a hex, denying you access to them. It's only scraps that seem to come to your mind. Words barely with any context. Rebellion, running up steps, southerners, fiery orbs. But there is more. Protect him with your life. People pulling something huge? That's how it is then. Not instinct, but a duty. Was it even meant for you? Was it your duty? And are you carrying it out? Or have you long since failed? Has everybody failed? But still, here, you failed. This unbearable heat, there is only one thing here that won't kill you. I love you, Robin. You can barely breathe and you feel like you're coughing without actually coughing. As if you were dizzy without really feeling it. Smoke, tasting it without seeing it. A mother telling you something and crying. So many steps, such a loud night. The path was long, or went in circles. Upward, since there is no down. Or won't be there, but here, any decision will mean certain death. And you're close, so close, and by no means can you know how this wisdom found you. Deaf, are they all dead? And the bundle at your chest, nothing? But still so familiar. And the sorcerer, does he still follow you? Has he ever? Think about it. Has ever anybody followed you? You can't hear anything, But you could. Who was the unconscious man on the floor? Had he ever gone up? You haven't seen him since you left the room with the infant. Because he would have killed you. How can you be so sure? These steps! Maybe just in your head? Everything like from another life? The heat becomes even more unbearable. Like flames on your skin and in your lungs. She holds you and shakes you, whispers, burns, screaming in your ear. You're being called for, urgently. Just one thing makes sense. I hope it makes sense. Behind this door lies your destination. Everything will end there, and you have to reach it soon. You're being called for, urgently. Or everything will end here. Without knowledge. Without purpose. So hot. So, no clue? No hint? In comparison to blue sand, even with a ruby, a sapphire, and a diamond, the emerald is the only thing of noble nature. How does that help me? This one is absolutely 100% a game of chance, and I hate it. It's not just the heat, but somebody shaking you, shouting, and it's not just the heat, but somebody shaking you, shouting and yelling in your ear, and you hear a coughing. You know it's you who coughs. You feel the unbearable heat, hear the wheezing until you notice. So hot, your lungs, so hot, your skin, so much smoke. Oh, please wake up, princess. Oh. This music kind of reminds me of that particular episode of Cowboy Bebop. You all know what we're talking about. That cool episode. Faster than a colibri's wings, and even before you realize where you are and what situation you are in, memories come crashing back to you, like raindrops of a downpour in spring. The rebellion of the Southerners, manipulated for years by some evil man who blamed the king, your father, for bad harvest and poverty. Okay, that sounds very feudal fairy tale like. And with that, the whole dynasty, including you. But even the royal family was poor. Good food or even riches of gold and silver weren't to be found here. Not since you were born, anyway. The fighting outside of the walls, and then the big catapults, loaded with something that had been unknown until then. Oh. Orbs of fire, so big and devastating, the East Gate had rapidly gone up in flames with all its fortifications. Pick at the scab. The look on your father and his advisors. The look he flashed your mother, his son, and you, before he joined a fight with his men. That couldn't have been any more hopeless. A fight without return. And his last words, to the needle. That was the plan. The needle, the highest tower at the center of the courtyard. It had been built to give the highest possible protection for otherwise hopeless situations, and it had never had to be used until now. The gate at the base of the spiral staircase, stone stairs reaching seemingly endlessly up to the trip of the tower. This gate in the anteroom of the needle opens only once without the key. If it was shut after that, it was not to be opened from the inside and from the outside, only with a very special key. The key was unique and only 2 people knew where it was: King and Queen, father and mother. For a chest, 3 bring death. It was a death sentence to approach one of the chest. I gotta look at that text scroll. Even so, nobody would have approached them. The tower was never locked. There was nothing of value inside it. And word had it, the chests were bewitched. And it was almost like that. Just that the spell was poison, which made dragons and look like snowdrops. If one opened the wrong chest, the poison would be set free and fill the air within 60 feet, killing anybody in range. By the time it took a common moth to beat with its wings. You're telling me they didn't have money, but they had the ability to get that kind of poison? And this elaborate plan? That doesn't seem right. Like, I'm just saying. I don't think so. Your Yarmela's words come to your mind. Take your brother and go to the needle. Hurry. Protect him with your life. And the words she whispered in your ear, which frightened you more than all the rest. Through this whisper, a third person had been told the secret location of the key. She had whispered, in comparison to blue satin, even with a ruby, a sapphire, and a diamond, the emerald is the only thing of noble nature. What the fuck? Maybe she gave you that knowledge so someone would be able to rescue you from the spire. If you told them about the right chest, shouted it, drew the gates, when nobody remained alive. Who had the knowledge too? When both were dead, father and mother, king and queen. My goodness. This slow roll text is killing me. The plan was to form a breach, a way out to get the prince. You and your mother out of the castle, to safety somehow. And just now you noticed you had only dreamt all that. Just a nightmare, now you wake up? You start to hear the crying voice of your mother, who still shakes your shoulders. Suit blackened. with weeping red eyes desperately trying to wake you up. Yes, you awoke from your nightmare to a reality far more hopeless than your dream, even if you can't see it just yet. As if she were far away, you hear your mother's voice. She tells you a few things. That your father has died in battle. That actually everybody has died, either in battle or through the flames. But you had already known that your father would die. But you had already known that your father would die the moment he flashed that look to you. That there would be no breach and no escape. That everything was burning, and even the attackers, frightened by the huge fire that had once been a castle, have withdrawn themselves. You had been able to see the onset of this inferno from the windows of the Needle. At this very moment, you realize that even in 1,000 years, there will be people who kill each other out of spurious reasons. Then, when you start to feel the burning heat around you more and more, and your mind slowly clears up, you speak to your mother in tears. But I've done everything right. Every decision that I made was well thought out. I've made it through traps and through fire until I made it here, Mother. Your mother looks at you insistently and speaks. Yes, Princess, you did. You did everything properly, just like you always do. You see the blazing flames surrounding you and hear yourself say there has to be a way out. That you made it through the flames once already? But your mother looks at you with tears in her eyes, and still she smiles and gently shakes her head. That was a dream, Princess. Just like the fairy tales Gerald loved to tell you. The flames here are real. There's nothing magical about them. And believe me when I say, I've seen enough people try today already to escape through the fires. They were dead before the flames even reached them. Fire's hot, guys. You're lying on a bed at the tip of the needle and hold the prince, your brother, in your arms. Listen to your mother's words like in a trance, now holding you in a tight embrace. The tower is completely ablaze. The cool castle and even the courtyards are up in flames. I made it to you and your little brother. I made it to you and your little brother when the flames in the yard of the when the flames in the yard and the fire going up the stairs drew the needle was still passable, but only because my heart was with me. There is no going back. Sadly, the world is not a fairy tale, princess. It doesn't need to have a happy end, even when you make the right choices. The question is, how can you deal with things that you can't change? Being here with you, not leaving you and your brother to yourselves up here, for me, that was the only right decision. The one which seems to be right for you. You might have to make yourself, princess. Okay, so while this slowly drains out, this game could definitely be a lot better. It has promise. The issue here is that this slow text, the little tiny, the freaking letter by second, is the most terrible idea for a game I've ever seen. And that's saying something. And then they have an option to accelerate text, but only if you've seen it before. It slowly it has to fade away, and then it has to slowly come, the words have to slowly come back. And it's just, this could have been so much better. So much, and no matter what, we're gonna die. We're gonna die regardless, and that's okay. I'm all about a choose your own story game, but the fact that they couldn't let me save just in case I made a mistake, I wanted to just try and get to the end of the game. I don't mind doing things trial by error. The very least they could have done was giving me a chance to save and not go through all this text and make it still be slow even when it's accelerated. Let's die in the flames of the needle, staying in bed in a tight embrace with your mother and brother. Let's go. Kill us all. Yep. We were gonna die anyway. Oh, big words, big words, big words. You've met your fate. Nothing could have gone any other way. Your time had come, the time of all those in that kingdom. You accepted your fate by the means that seemed right to you. Here, there was no right or wrong, good or bad. It was the only decision ever with which you won't have to live. You died through it. You choose the death that, in your heart, seemed the wisest or the most merciful, whether by killing the little prince to spare him the suffering of burning, or with courage and the prince in arms in a desperate attempt to save him, or alone, by jumping out the needle into the sea of flames below, or in a tight embrace in the arms of your mother and brother. Maybe you just waited and hoped until you had all had burnt. It doesn't matter. No one can judge you for it. I, the least of all. You are brave. You are strong, pure of heart and noble. But sometimes all that doesn't change a thing. Your death was set in stone long before you made your first decision. End game. I didn't like this game at all. It had promise, and I know and they are not going to work on this. I'm gonna of course link the game down below so you guys can give it a try. And the fact that the last thing they did was fix the accelerating text, only for those who had played it already. So if they ever decide to touch it again, it could be better. But I don't think they're going to. This game came out in the beginning of January. We are in July. They're not working on it. It's sad because it had promise. And I was really looking forward to that promise. But anywho, thank you so much for joining me on this one, guys. I am done with the Fairy Tale of Death. As always, I will see you in the next episode. Bye-bye!